Hi, this is Dan Smith from Calvi Consulting Services. Today I'm going to walk you through a two-part demo for Internet of Things prototype. This is a system that's set up to gather information based off of sensors placed in the real world, and then ingest all of that information into the cloud, do some real-time processing on it, and send out notifications if they're needed, and also provide a way of visualizing the data that's coming in. So as you can see, we have it all laid out here. So everything starts over here on the left with our proximity sensor that we have hooked up to an Arduino. In the real world, this could be any other type of sensor that's gathering, collecting data. For prototype purposes, we're using Arduinos, and so once you have all that information being gathered by your sensor, you need somewhere to go. So we have that hooked up through a serial port to a Node.js server. Server acts as our gateway between the prototype device and the cloud. So what we do here, we get the data directly from the serial port. We do a little bit of processing on it, turn it into a JSON object, and make the appropriate Azure API calls. Where we end up dumping all of the messages is into the Azure Event Hub. What Azure Event Hub is kind of a mini broadcasting and repeating station for all events. So every event that comes into the Event Hub, and it has a certain broadcast ID. And then once it comes in, it immediately sends out a broadcast to that ID saying, hey, we have a new message, and passes that message along to anyone who's listening. So after it gets broadcast from the Event Hub, it comes to the stream processing side of things. There are two separate jobs that are set up for doing stream processing. One of them is doing small processing, then applying a filter to see if this message requires an alert to go out. The other side of things, it takes in the raw JSON message from the Node.js server, and then it transforms that into the proper SQL structure and to push it off into the Azure SQL. Uh, so once it's in Azure SQL, we are then visualizing that using Power BI, which provides real easy real-time access for the end user. You can do custom reports, or you can set up dashboards. I'll give you a demo of what that looks like in the next section. So back to the notification route. Once a message has been filtered and it's been approved for sending out a notification, it goes into the notification manager. Here at the notification manager, you can configure it to send it notifications out by email, text message, or mobile push, depending on how you have everything set up. It'll get the message that will be sitting in a queue in Azure. It'll do some processing and then send that out using SendGrid, which makes it much easier to get your messages successfully delivered from a data center than trying to send it out directly from the server. So you get the flow all the way through one more time. You gather data. Let's say that in this particular instance, it's proximity data where someone is really close and you want to send out a notification for that. So your message will be passed from the sensor to Node.js, which will bundle that up, make your API calls, pass it to Event Hub. Event Hub will then broadcast saying, we have a message, and then everyone who's listening for that message, in this case both of these stream analytics jobs, will get a copy of that message. In this case, since we did specify that we wanted notification sent out, it will meet the filter for being sent out as a notification. Simultaneously, the message will be being transformed into a SQL schema. And then we'll pass that filtered message along to our notification manager. It'll pick that up. It'll do, again, some more repackaging and making appropriate API calls to SendGrid to make sure an email goes out, or to any of the other appropriate APIs to send out a text message or a mobile push notification, which then shows up instantly to the end user. So going back to this stream job here, where we munge it into the correct SQL schema, dump it into the Azure SQL database, which then has Power BI doing the visualization, and that will immediately show the end user a new graph or whatever reports they have set up here, so they can get kind of the dual notifications of this is how everything is working over time, and also get the notification if someone is too close. Thanks for listening to this first part. Next up, I'll give you a live demo of the system as it's working.